In the news, President Buhari approves acting DG for NDE. No COVID-19 test required for resumption, says federal government. Niger Delta Group resolves to partner government on security and orders. On the international scene, Uganda, Bobby Wine calls
President
on
Yoweri
the
Museveni
international
for a
community.
sixth term.
Fear of mass starvation amidst Tigray crisis. Rwanda and Malawi shut schools as cases of COVID-19 surges. In business, manufacturers suffer decline in sales despite increase in production cost. Elumelu's firm buys Shell, Total, ENI stakes for $1.1 billion US. And in sports, Joshua Fury title fight sealed. Details shortly. TOS TV, your digital-first Pan-African network. I am Nkamiang John, and this is TOS News 360. We start with this report where the presidency on Monday announced that President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Abubakar Fikpo as the acting Director General of the National Directorate of Employment, pending the appointment of a substantive DG. The presidential approval was contrary to the position of the Senate, which on December 10, 2020, urged President Buhari to recline the presidential directive sacking Dr. Nasiru Arugungu as the NDE DG. In sacking Arugungu last year, in the wake of the controversy that trailed the federal government's planned 774,000 jobs, President Buhari had directed the Minister of State, Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo, who supervised the agency, to nominate an acting DG for the agency. Now, the federal government has asked schools to stop requesting for COVID-19 test results from returning students before they are admitted. The government, in a short statement issued on Monday by the Director of Press and Public Relations, Federal Ministry of Education, Ben Gong, warned school authorities to refrain from asking students or parents to undergo COVID-19 tests before they are accepted in their schools. The statement read, and I quote, "No COVID-19 test required for resumption of students. The Federal Ministry of Education says no COVID-19 test is required for returning students to be admitted into their schools. Only temperature checks should be carried out on students and any other person crossing any school gate. School authorities should therefore refrain from asking students or parents to undergo COVID-19 tests before they are accepted in their schools." End of quote. Now, the people of the Niger Delta in South Nigeria have resolved to partner all sincere ethnic groups and governments in the country to ensure national security and economic prosperity. According to a statement signed by Secretary General of the United Niger Delta Energy Development Security Strategy, Tony Uranta, this position was taken at the end of the 2021 First General Cyber Meeting of the UN DSS, the think tank and voice of the Niger Delta people. Now, the group concluded that the region is to this end, and I quote, "going to stretch forth hands of friendship and partnership to the federal and relevant state governments as well as the people of Nigeria to expedite the restoration of nationwide security and guarantee better life for all Nigerians." End of quote. The Nigerian Army has regained control of its military base in Mate in the northeast of Nigeria on Sunday morning after intense fighting with jihadists of the Islamic State in West Africa, ISWAP. The group claimed responsibility for the attack on Friday evening and still had control of the base on Saturday before being dislodged by the Nigerian Army, whose troops of Operation Tura Taka Bango, in coordination with the Air Force, destroyed 7 of the group's militarized trucks decimated several terrorists and are still in pursuit of the terrorists, as per an official statement Saturday evening. Now, the terrorists have since left the city, as also did thousands of civilians who fled to Maiduguri, the capital of Borno, which lies about 130 kilometers away from the theater of war. Now, the conflict between the Nigerian armed forces and Boko Haram has taken the lives of 35,000 people and displaced about 2 million people from their homes since 2009. This is your digital first Pan-African network, TOS TV. You are watching TOS News 360. Up next, global news. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You are watching TOS News 360, and on the international scene, we start with this report where Ugandan opposition leader Bobi Wine urged the international community on Sunday to call for the lifting of his house arrest the day after the announcement of the disrupted results of the presidential election that reappointed President Yoweri Museveni for a sixth term in office. He also called for international sanctions against the president, the release of political prisoners, and international audit of the election for all nations to review their relationship with Uganda and the restoration of the nation's internet service. Wine, second with 34.8% in the poll, which he denounced as fraudulent, affirms that no official charges have been brought against him and he is under siege by soldiers and police who have surrounded his Kampala residence, preventing anyone from entering or leaving with no food or access to his lawyer to launch legal proceedings. Staying with developments from Uganda, Ugandans are celebrating the resumption of the restoration of internet service after a shutdown was imposed ahead of last weekend's election. However, social media platforms remain blocked and are only accessible using virtual private networks, VPN. Now, President Yoweri Museveni, who won an unprecedented sixth term in office, had accused the platforms of being biased. The party's spokesperson, Joel Seniyoni, accused Museveni of shutting down the internet to prevent them from sharing evidence of fraud. The communications blackout has led to strong criticism of the Ugandan government from human rights organizations across the world. Online services were severely restricted on the eve of the January 14th elections after the government ordered telecoms companies to block access to social media platforms as retaliation. Museveni had been angered by Facebook's decision to remove accounts linked to the ruling party after its investigations found that they had been involved in a coordinated operation to maliciously target opposition members. Now to other developments where the government-run Trigay Emergency Coordinated Center, ECC, is assessing needs following the conflict in that region of Ethiopia. Now, the federal government declared victory at the end of November, but sporadic fighting has continued, and the United Nations has described the humanitarian situation as severe. It added that reports indicate that food is not available or is extremely limited in markets, posing increasing risk of malnutrition. The ECC says that 4.5 million people need emergency food aid in Tigray, according to a figure quoted in a UN report. Now, the population of Tigray is between 5 to 7 million. More than 500,000 have fled to neighboring Sudan. The UN has said that access to parts of Tigray is still limited, but some aid is getting through. Communications with much of the region remains difficult as phone lines and the internet have been caught, making the verification of reports very hard. More developments across Africa as Rwanda and Malawian authorities shut nurseries and schools on Monday as coronavirus cases surged. Now, Rwanda closed schools in just the capital, Kigali, but the education minister says schools in other regions would also be shut down if more cases are confirmed. The country has reported more than 11,000 cases and 142 deaths since the outbreak. Malawi said it would shut schools for at least 15 days and announced all bars will also close at 8 p.m. local time. After reporting no positive cases for almost 2 months, the country had seen a sudden resurgence of the COVID-19 cases. Malawi reported over 12,000 cases and some 300 deaths since the pandemic started in November last year. Now, authorities said a third of those deaths were reported in the past 16 days. The president said the government was allocating a further $2 million to provide health care, staff, and equipment. The millions of COVID-19 vaccine doses secured by the African Union are unlikely to emerge on the continent before the month of April. Now, rescuers say that 12 miners trapped underground after an explosion in a Chinese gold mine a week ago are still alive. State media reports the workers managed to send a note saying, "Don't stop trying to reach us," to rescuers 7 days after the accident. Now, the fate of another 10 miners missing after the explosion remains unclear. The 22 were trapped at the Hoshan mine near Yantai in Shandong province in eastern China on January 10th after an explosion damaged the exit and the communication systems of the mine, which was still under construction. Now, according to the note they retrieved back from the shaft, 12 people are alive in the middle section of the mine, while the status of the other 10 is still not clear. The 12 miners reportedly also asked for more medicine, including painkillers and anti-inflammatory drugs, as well as medical tape for the injured. They also said there were high levels of underground water. Chinese media reports that there are also several other rescue shafts being drilled in the hope that the workers thought to be about 600 meters, approximately 2,000 feet from the entrance to be excavated. This is your digital first Pan-African network, TOS TV. You are watching TOS News 360. Still ahead, business and sports. To stay with us. You are watching TOS News 360, and now to business. In 2020, manufacturers suffered huge declines in sales volume despite significant increase in their production costs owing to the economic disruption occasioned by the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the magnitude of this was revealed in the Manufacturer CEO's Confidence Index, MCCI, conducted by the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, in the first quarter of 2020, where 84% of the respondents complained of poor sales volume. Now, 43% further said the level of unsold manufactured products has not reduced in the last 3 months. Consequently, these companies are left to incur debt, especially those that have products with short shelf lives. Now, the imbalance between the increase in cost of production and the decline in sales may lead to the folding up of some of these companies, as many of them are already neck deep in debt. The cause of these challenges majorly due to the scarcity of raw materials and production equipment, especially as China, which is the major hub where these things are sourced, closed down its economy to arrest the pandemic. In addition, the lockdown and movement restriction, which was enforced by the government, hindered the availability of workers and forced some companies to execute a temporary shutdown. In preparing a solution, MAN recommended that the government needs to prioritize the needs of the sector and addressing its challenges in order of necessity and resource availability Furthermore, the government should ensure strict compliance with Executive Order 003 and 005 to improve the government patronage of products manufactured in Nigeria. Still on business, the Nigerian Commodity Exchange, NCX, is well positioned to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement AfTA through the implementation of several measures to ensure smooth export operations of Nigerian commodities. Now, this was disclosed by the Managing Director of the Commodities Exchange, Zahara Baba Ari. Now, she said that the NCX has an established network of 20 warehouses across major production areas in the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria for efficient receipt and storage of agro-commodities to be traded in the exchange. The warehouses located in Zamfara, Kano, Kaduna, Nasarawa, northern Nigeria, Benue, Bauchi, Central Nigeria, Sokoto, Northeast Nigeria, Plateau, Ebonyi, Ekiti, and Kogi have a combined capacity to store 50 trillion tons of goods. She added that the warehouses in Adamawa, Gombe, Taraba, Jigawa, Edo, Cross River, and Ondo states would be ready within 1 year. The NCX boss said that AfTA would help Africa fight challenges that were caused by the pandemic in the continent's economies through trade. Still on business, 3 international oil companies operating in Nigeria have sold their combined 45% interest in oil mining lease 17 and related assets in the eastern Niger Delta to TNOG Oil and Gas Limited, an integrated energy company founded by Tony Elumelu. Heirs Holdings said in a statement that TNOG Oil and Gas would have sole operatorship of the asset. It described the transaction as one of the largest oil and gas financing in Africa in more than a decade, with a financing component of $1.1 billion provided by a consortium of global and regional banks and investors. SPDC announced in a statement on Friday the completion of the sale of its 30% interest in OML 17 and associated infrastructure to TNOG Oil and Gas for consideration of $533 million. The oil major said the completion followed the receipt of all approvals from the relevant authorities of the federal government of Nigeria. TNOG Oil and Gas is a related company of Heirs Holding Limited and Transitional Corporation of Nigeria PLC, both of which have Tony Elumelu as their chairman. The company said it was committed to transfer OML 17 in an orderly and responsible manner to the new owner, which would help to provide a sustainable long-term plan to unlock its full potential. Away from business and now to sports, where Anthony Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn says a deal for the world heavyweight champion to meet Tyson Fury in an undisputed world heavyweight title bout this year is all but done, with a venue in the Middle East a front runner to host the anticipated fight. Now, Fury has not fought since beating American Deontay Wilder in their Las Vegas rematch in February to claim the WBC crown. Hines said Joshua and Fury would face off in 2 fights, with the first fight likely to be in the Middle East later this year, and he hoped to bring the rematch back to the United Kingdom. And that's it on TOS News 360, your digital-first Pan-African network. For more updates, do visit our website, www.tostvnetwork.com. Do follow and like TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. TOS TV is also available on TS TV as TOS News on channel 138. Do stay with us and enjoy more programs on TOS TV Network. I am Kamian John. Bye for now.
subscribe.